And we are live right here on the Tony Cutillo Show, brought to you always on Mondays, and maybe picking up another day, maybe not. Don't know, but it's the NFL Day One tampering period. And I'll tell you what, man, like this has been an exciting day. And again, I know that sometimes we have exciting days, but I'll tell you what, this has been a very exciting day. This has been a very, very exciting day. Okay. It's been full full of surprises, in my opinion. We're going to go through every single one. We're going to do a rundown of the tracker. We're going to talk about the Eagles because obviously a lot of people have been very upset about the Eagles, right? I've heard, mixed emotions. People saying, no, we can't just have all these guys go. How are we going to replace them? We'll get into that, right? I want to take a temperature. What's the barometer? What's the temperature of everybody right now? My man Foods checking in. What's up, Foods? How's Foods feel, man? Big money today, Foods. Big money. Just into breaking news. How about Justin Fields switching teams again? Justin Fields switching teams again. This time gets the chance to start once again with the New York Jets. I mean, that stinks for him. But again, he's getting $40 million over 2 years. So I like Justin Fields, man. I like Justin Fields. Carlos, what's up, my man? Checking in says, Tony, salute. I'm still letting Howie cook, but damn, I wasn't expecting to lose all these guys. Not worried, a bit surprised. I listen, I agree with that. I understand. Carlos, I completely get it. I'll be honest with you. I went into this expecting to lose a lot. But I think you have to look at the underlining moves that are going to happen, right? I do. I think you have to look at and we're getting into all that tonight, right? We're gonna get into that. Listen, I usually like to go an hour, but this might actually go a little longer because there's a lot to talk about. As long as everybody's still tuning in, it'll be. I'll continue to talk about it, right? I'll continue to talk about it. Right now, if you're live, I'm live. Well, X isn't working right now. I get cyber attack. Who the hell knows? Can't go live on X right now. Whatever. Who cares? It is what it is. I'm live right now on YouTube, which is the main spot, right? I want you to get over to YouTube, pick up the show on YouTube if you can. If you're on Facebook, I might not get the comments. I should, but you never know. I might not get them. I'm going to share it on Facebook right now for the people that are on Facebook that may not be getting it. But yeah, Foods, listen, man. A lot of losses in the Eagles defense. I believe Howie got something up his sleeve. I agree. I believe Howie was splashed in the second and third wave. 100%, man. 100%. Again, it's a sprint, man. I mean, it's not a sprint. It's a journey. Honestly, it's not a sprint. It's not a race. I can tell you that right now. A lot of these teams that were making these moves were teams that had to make these moves. Right? If you think about it, these teams had to make these moves. Okay. And that's the biggest thing, right? You look at a lot of these moves that were made, and these teams, they had to make the moves. The New England Patriots who signed Milton Williams, $26 million a year. They had $100 million to spend, man. Right. And they've always been a team that needed help in that interior. They love the interior of the line. So listen, I'm not mad at Milt. Go get your money, man. Like you worked your ass off, and at the end of the day, you balled out when we need you to ball out. You bet on yourself. I love the story of betting on yourself. I've bet on myself multiple times. I'm betting on myself right now. I've been on radio. I've been on TV. And finally I was like, you know what? I'm just tired of working for other people. I'm just going to do it for me. I'm investing myself. So all that time that I was wasting helping somebody else build up their network, I'm just going to build up my own. Right? I am just investing in me. So Milton Williams invested in himself, and I love it. Josh Sweat invested in himself, goes out and realigns with Jonathan Gannon. I wonder if he's got a little fire in his gut. Right, a little fire in his gut out there with Jonathan Gannon. Who knows? But the thing I just want to say, though, is I just want to talk a little bit about the difference of our organization compared to other organizations. Carlos says, do you think Howie going to make a big draft day trade? It looks like it might have. Listen, they have a lot of picks. They have a lot of picks, and they're going to get a lot of compensatory picks too, right? So you get the third round compensatory for Milton Williams. You're going to get the third round compensatory for getting for losing Josh Sweat. You're so right like that's what people don't understand. And then secretly, right? Secretly, how about the Kenny Pickett trade? Going, Kenny Pickett going to Cleveland for a fifth round pick as well as DTR. I think that was interesting, right? I think that was because again, listen, these are the moves a good organization makes. Okay, these are the moves a good organization makes. Okay, again, you bring in Kenny Pickett, and now he gives you some worth, and now you trade him away. You get a project back in DTR, right? I think we all know what this signifies, right? I don't even know if DTR is even going to see the field, okay? But you're getting another fifth round pick, right? Which you have 4 fifth round picks right now. You know that they are going to be used in order to move up, and whether it be for this year or next year, right? Howie is the man when it comes to that. But look at the organizations. Look at Cleveland for a minute. Like they gave Miles Garrett, who I love. I love Miles Garrett. I wanted Miles Garrett here. Okay. Shout out to Nicole Lynn, who is killing it as an agent right now, man. She's negotiating the hell out of these contracts. And I'll tell you what, man, she is going to be giving Drew Rosenhaus a run for his money. That's for damn sure. And he got the highest contract of any non-quarterback in the NFL, $140 million. The reason why I say look at the organization is look at Cleveland right now. All the pieces, like everything they need, no quarterback, no nothing. They decided to take $140 million, cap strap themselves again, okay, and give it to Miles Garrett. It says, hey, you know what? We need to start over. We need to start fresh. We shipped half of our draft to get Deshaun Watson. It didn't work out. Why don't we recover some of those picks with Miles Garrett and start over? No, what are we going to do? We're going to sign this guy for $140 million, and we know we're not going to win for the next 3 years. It's a stupid move. In my opinion, it's a stupid move for a franchise, again, that will not win. Like Arizona, they give Josh Sweat a ton of money. Listen, I love Josh. Listen, Josh, go get your bag. Go get your bag, right? Arizona's not winning anything. That team's not winning anything. Like, you already know these teams that are not going to win anything. The Miami Dolphins, let's go out and sign Zach Wilson as our backup quarterback. Winning nothing. Miami is winning nothing. Okay? But again, all the teams that are making the right, Buffalo Bills, right? Extending Josh Allen. And think about this for a second with the Josh Allen move. Remember, people. Remember I explained to you, and it got a lot of play, which I like. Again, make sure you like, subscribe to the show. If you're checking in right now on the Tony Cutillo Show right here live, make sure you like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this as much as I can. Listen, again, I may not be on the dial. I may not be on 94 WIP. I may not be on 97.5 The Fanatic. Okay. But again, I feel like I can offer the same, if not better energy than some of the people on those stations. Just my opinion. That's why I'm doing this. Okay. So if you like to talk, keep it coming, keep it going. So look at what I was talking about before, right? Jalen Hurts. Howie Roseman signs Jalen Hurts to a historic deal. Again, when he was one of the first in his class, he decided to sign. Howie Roseman, again, above the market. Above the market. So what happens? Josh Allen gets a huge deal. Josh Allen. Okay. Well, guess what? You already paid Jalen Hurts. So again, Howie sets the market. He sets the market, and then everybody else seems to follow. But guess what? His AAV is going to be lower because he had the first deal. It's a beautiful thing, the way they do it. It really is. And I think people are starting to see that, right? I understand people are starting to see that. But here's what I will say about a lot of these day one, well, the legal non it's so stupid, right? The legal non-tampering period, right? Why do you even have it? Like seriously, like it's just so dumb to me. You label it the legal non-tampering period, but again, it's just to me, it's just so stupid. It really is. Like, just say that you can do it. Just say these guys are going to sign. Again, it's just whatever. It is what it is. Let's get to the moves. Let's do this. Okay, let's go down the free agency tracker right now. Okay, let's because again, this is a Tony Cotola show. We are live. Okay, on everywhere. X must be fixed. The Cyber Pack's over. I am live on X right now, which is great. My man Mike checking in on YouTube. I appreciate that, Mike, as always. So let's go down. Let's go down the list here. Okay, and let's see where we're at. Okay, let's see what we talk because we're not just Philly here. Okay, this show is not just Philly. Okay, so let's go from we're going to go from the bottom to the top. Okay, the most the first moves that we're going, and then we're going to go from the top. So here we go. We got Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick signs a 1-year deal with Tampa worth $14 million. Another prove it deal for Hassan Reddick. Anybody see the pattern here? Remember when Hassan Reddick was here in Philadelphia and everybody was talking about, oh, we're going to miss him so much. I cannot believe we didn't sign Hassan Reddick. You remember that? Okay. And again, I say this all the time. There's got to be something wrong with Hassan Reddick. Okay. If he only has to get prove it deals, okay. If again, he's a guy that can't get that contract he so seeks, there's something wrong with Hassan Reddick. Say what you want. There's something wrong, in my opinion, with Hassan Reddick. Or again, he would be signing a long-term deal, but he is not. Okay. But he is not. And I say that because everybody was killing Howie over that. Everybody was killing Howie over that. So again, Hassan Reddick 1-year deal signs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Another signing by Tampa Bay, and I will say this: I love this deal, and I'm happy for him. Chris Godwin signs a 3-year, $66 million deal to run it back with Baker Mayfield. Now, the reason why I like this deal is because Chris Godwin was on the last year of a contract, having a career year when he had that horrific injury. And bravo and big props to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because it would have sucked if Chris Godwin couldn't have got paid. And I get it. I understand it's a business. Okay. But here's a guy with a freak injury that was going into, free agency that was obviously going to probably get a really good deal. And Tampa Bay's taking care of him, man. 3 years, 66 million, 20 million, 22 million a year. Good for him, man. Good for him. I think that's a great deal. You got Mike Evans out there, right? You got Chris Godwin, you got Baker who's on the rise. Obviously you lose Liam Cohen as your OC, but you know what? I still like what they have. And obviously Bucky Irving out there. They got a nice, good team out there, man. So again, I'm excited and I'm happy, 100% happy for Chris Godwin. So yes, a 1-year deal, let Gunn eat, but they don't want him around for a while, man. Like that's the thing. I'm tired of people complaining about people leaving. Mike says we weren't paying them that high. I agree, man. 100%, Mike. Like we all know, we all know this is a business, right? Hassan Reddick wanted 20 plus million. You're right, Foos. 20 plus million. It's a business, Mike says, but agents see that stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you got Jalen Moore signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Moore will be Patrick Mahomes' new left tackle after a small stint in San Francisco in spot duty. So here's a guy, again, Kansas City Chiefs, what happened? We destroyed them on the offensive line. Joe Tooney is gone. So here comes Jalen Moore, 2-year, $30 million deal. It's a decent deal, man. It's a good signing, right? Anything along the line, good signing. I like this. I tell you what, man, this is one of the most underrated deals in the NFL right now that I like. The Chicago Bears are signing Falcons center Drew Dahlman to a 3-year, $42 million deal that includes $28 million in guaranteed money. He becomes the second highest paid center in the league. And I love it. Right? What you have a young quarterback in Caleb Williams. What is going to be his best friend? Obviously, we know it's a blind spot, right? The left tackle. I get that, but that center position, that cohesion. You just signed a guy that's number one, very athletic. Number two, can get out and block with the best of them. And number three, he just plays games. He's a warrior. So that is a really good deal for Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. Wide receiver Braxton Berrios agrees on a 1-year, $2 million deal with the Texans. You know what? That's an interesting thing because Berrios is going to do a lot, right? He's going to be a gadget guy. He's going to do some punt returns, some kick returns. He's a guy that could have some really good value in Houston when you're talking about Nico Collins and who knows what's going to go on with Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. And, they traded for Christian Kirk. So they're trying to revamp some things out there for in Houston. So we should see. How about BJ Hill is staying with the Cincinnati Bengals with a new 3-year, $33 million deal, includes $16 million in guaranteed money. Obviously, a very solid signing for a team that doesn't spend a lot of money, right? And that's not a lot of money, right? That's not a lot of money. So we already see that, man. Who he said, where's he from? Who are you talking about? Dahlman, Mike? If you're talking about Dahlman, he's from Atlanta. He was the Atlanta Falcons center. Very, very good, very, very good center. Washington Commanders signed former Niners defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. I like Kinlaw a lot. I think he's a really good player. 3 years, $45 million, includes $30 million guaranteed. Kinlaw was a really good inside presence for the San Francisco 49ers. So you see the San Francisco 49ers losing some people, right? When you're good, and even though they haven't won a Super Bowl, but when you're good and you win, you lose people. Speaking of that, the Kansas City Chiefs are signing former 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell. Nothing discussed there, no terms disclosed, but again, Andy Reid gets another solid running back for his team. Obviously, Samaje Perine will probably be gone. Obviously, Kareem Hunt. I doubt they probably ran him into the ground last year. So now you're going to have Elijah Mitchell, and you're going to have obviously Isaiah Pacheco. Former Raiders linebacker Robert Spillane is heading to New England. Spillane's new deal will pay him $37.5 million over 3 years. Very athletic linebacker. How about Jimmy Garoppolo becomes the new backup out there for the Rams, and Matthew Stafford signing a 1-year deal with the Rams. And in Jacksonville, signing quarterback Jordan Lewis to a 3-year, $30 million deal. He becomes the highest paid nickelback at his position. The highest paid nickelback at his position. I couldn't tell Jordan Lewis. I don't know. I'm not sure what team. I'll be honest with you. He's not a name. I'm pretty good with these players, but not a name that rings a bell. Not a name. Oh, not Hill. BJ Hill. Yeah, he's from Cincinnati. Kinlaw, very good pickup. Very good pickup. Not for us, but the very, very good inside presence. Like I said. I do like Kinlaw a lot. I thought maybe the Eagles could possibly take a run at him, but his value was just too high. Cornerback Paulson Adebo is heading to the New York Giants. He was the New Orleans Saints quarterback. So Adebo, decent player, not a huge signing, but gives them some depth. How about the Tennessee Titans? Left tackle Dan Moore. 4-year deal worth $82 million, $50 million guaranteed, $30 million in year one. He solidifies the left tackle of the offensive line and will protect who? Who is he going to protect? Maybe Russell Wilson? I don't know. Should be interesting to see what goes down for Tennessee right there. The New England Patriots again. Remember, they had the most money of anybody in free agency. They agree on a 3-year deal with cornerback Carlton Davis III. Okay. They take him out of the NFC North. $34.5 million, fully guaranteed $60 million deal. Carolina thought they had defensive tackle Milton Williams. That did not work out. We'll get to that in a minute. Patriots, again, veteran right tackle Morgan Moses to a 3-year deal. Listen, I love what the Patriots are doing. I love it. I love what they're doing. They need to do this. I'm a Vrabel guy, even though I don't like New England. I am a Mike Vrabel guy. Dre Greenlaw now going to Denver. Food says interesting. That's a great signing for the Denver Broncos. They get again 49ers losing another one, man. Like this is what happens when you're a good team. You can only pay so many, right? And we're learning that here in Philadelphia. You can only pay so many. The Detroit Lions are signing quarterback DJ Reed to a 3-year, $48 million deal. There you go. They just replaced Carlton Davis, who, like we said, went to the Patriots. So again, I think Carlton Davis is a better back than DJ Reed. And if you know, DJ Reed did play for the New York Jets. The Minnesota Vikings, they agree. Let's talk about this for a little bit because this is two big signs right here. Let's talk about the first one. The Minnesota Vikings landed new cornerback agreeing to a 2-year, $15 million deal with Isaiah Rodgers. Now, let's pause here for a minute. Let's get into this conversation. So what I want to do is I want to go through this list. We'll talk about these players, but then when it comes to an Eagles player, a former Eagles player, or an Eagles player that has an impact on us, let's talk about it. So Isaiah Rodgers, number one, let's give a shout out to Isaiah Rodgers because out of the league, right? Let's not get. We all know it is what it is. We read all the he went through what he had to go through. Paid the price is what it is. When it comes to sports gambling, but he comes back. The Eagles give him that shot. He revitalized his career. Played very well in spot duty, and gets $15 million, right? And he's young enough to where if he plays extremely well this year for the Minnesota Vikings, that if they don't extend him to a big money contract, he's going to be able to get paid, okay, and the following year. So I think that is a big deal. Now, for us, what does that mean for the Philadelphia Eagles? So let's think about it. We've said this before, and I'll say it again. You can't pay them all the time. Last year was an abnormality. It really was. It was a year where you had guys on really good contracts, guys that weren't getting paid yet, and you had a huge insertion of young talent that knew how to ball. Very, very simple. Knew how to ball. So because of that, you had the opportunity to be able to go deep with a very deep roster. So Isaiah Rodgers is a cap. I wouldn't say cap casualty, okay, but I think they're really high on Keely Ringo. And we could say what we want. He has size. He has some toughness. He has attitude, which I like about it, right? And listen, there could be some bumps along the road, but you can't always have lockdowns everywhere. Now, I will say this. What scares me about this, if they don't decide to bring in an experienced corner, is when you have Quinyon Mitchell, who's the lockdown guy, who is never going to be targeted. Everything's going to go to the other side. So Keely Ringo is going to need the ball. He's going to need to be ready. Keely Ringo is going to need to be a solidified starter if they don't sign anybody else, because I don't want them to really mess with the luxury of having Cooper DeJean in that nickel. I think it works. I think he's comfortable. And again, remember, he had to kind of engage himself and understand that position. I don't want him to have to learn a different position. Okay. I don't want to have to let him have to change again. Right. Let's keep the consistency and the cohesion. So I do think, again, they still have like Eli Ricks. Not a huge fan, but again, he's serviceable. But do we want serviceable or do we want solid? And I do think it'll benefit us. And again, I think there's a couple guys out there. Listen, there's a guy named Jair Alexander out there still, from Green Bay, who I really like Jair Alexander. I'm going to be honest with you. I really like Jair Alexander. I think he's a hell of a player. And if we could get Jair Alexander still a little young, I'd be all for it. Okay. I'd be all for it because again, you still have some of these guys on rookie deals, right? We're still going to have some of these guys on rookie deals. So I think that is huge. Now, let's get to the plot twist here. Okay. You thought that Carolina had Milt Williams. Well, no. The New England Patriots come in and swoop in. And again, listen to this number. Milton Williams. So listen, you guys know me. If you followed me, if you've been listening over the last couple years, whether I was here on this show, on this channel, whether I was on Sirius on Sunday nights, I always said that I loved Milton Williams. I thought this was the year that Milton was. I thought Milton Williams was better than Jordan Davis. I always said that this was the guy. Unfortunately, he was so much better that he blew up the market. $26 million a year. I can't pay a defensive tackle $26 million a year. No disrespect to Milton Williams. I'm glad he got the bag. Good for him. He bet on himself. Like I said, I think that's great. But I can't strap my cap with a defensive tackle at $26 million a year. I just can't. Now we're gonna see some interesting developments on the Jalen Carter front, okay, which I'm sure is going to happen, by the end of this year or possibly next year. So, where that mindset may change, but he's a different dynamic player. Milt Williams is very good. He's not Jalen Carter. He's not Aaron Donald. Okay. He's not Ndamukong Suh. Milt Williams is a very good player. Solid, right? Solid. But do I think he's worth? No, I think it's just a value, right? I wouldn't have paid him $26 million a year. I just wouldn't. And I will say this: I feel like, and again, this is probably bad on my part to say this, but I have to tell you the way I feel. I do feel like he is a guy that is going to get the bag and maybe not really perform up to that level anymore. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Okay. I think he's a guy that says, I got the money, I'm good. Am I going to play? Absolutely. But I think you saw another element to his game. So to me, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's worried about what people think. Put it that way, right? Yeah, exactly. So Mike says, who's highest paid defensive tackle? Vita Vey? It may be. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure. Now, JD, my man JD checking in says, congrats. Milt Williams, Jalen Carter smiling ear to ear. Absolutely. It's a great point, JD, because like I said, it won't be this year, but it'll be the following year where, Jalen Carter is going to be up for a big payday, man. And the way he's playing right now and the continued dominance that he possesses, you have to understand that that's what Howie has to look at. Howie has to look at this as a game of chess. Constantly say it's a game of chess, right? The pieces that that's my whole issue with the Dallas Goedert situation, right? The whole issue I have with the Dallas Goedert situation is, I've been calling this with Dallas Goedert for the last couple years. You cannot pay everybody. You already have millions of dollars in two wide receivers, a running back, and a quarterback. Okay. Like you can't pay everyone. So this is nothing personal. This is business, right? Again, this is business. JD said, is Trey talking about Dallas Goedert about getting something a year earlier than a year later? Now, well, the problem is he's due $12 million this year, right? JD, he's due $12 million, 11.8 to be exact, right? So he's due $12 million this year. But again, he's going into a contract year. This would be the last year on his deal, I think, right? So, and the reason why I say that is because, he's going to be able to walk. So the whole mindset of the Philadelphia Eagles that I'm looking at is they want to save some money against the cap. And if they could salvage a pick knowing that they're not going to re-sign him anyway after next year, okay? Knowing if it was, again, if they were going to re-sign him next year to like an extension or something like that, then yeah, it'd be different. But they know they're not going to do that. They understand that. So essentially what they're doing, this is the way I look at this. And this is why I think the Eagles are very good at what they do and why they have a lot of credibility about what they do. They're giving him the opportunity. A lot of people are, oh, this is bad business. They're just letting the guy go. He's really good. No, 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 no. Understand what they're doing for Dallas Goddard. And this, you're not going to hear this take anywhere else. This is just my own opinion. What they're doing for Dallas Goddard is they're trying to make him get a payday to where he's not a lame duck player because they know they can't do it. What they're doing is they're trying to find a situation for Dallas Goddard to where he'll go to a team and he'll be able to be afforded to get that again, that luxury of getting an extension, getting some security because they can't give it to him. So they're actually doing him a solid, okay? Because think about this. If they just release him, teams are going to pick him up, but they're not going to give him any security, right? But if you're a team that's willing to give up a fourth or a fifth round pick, you don't just want to waste a pick. Okay. So the security is, again, that fifth rounder now gives Dallas Goddard some security because that team that he goes to is going to want to give him an extension to give him at least another year or two. That's the way I look at it. So Dallas Goddard, again, the biggest thing with him was health. When he was on the field, played great. But the problem was he could never stay on the field. And he's not, in my opinion, even though he's not worth top five tight end money. And he's going to get top five tight end money. You can't pay him top five tight end money. It can't work. Right. So again, you're looking at a guy possibly like a Jawan Johnson, right? The former tight end from the New Orleans Saints. Big guy, not overly athletic, but very good blocker, good out in the flat, right? So you're going to be looking at a guy like that. And again, you'll probably dress somebody. Listen, Grant Calcaterra, really, really like him. But the problem is he's not a very good blocker. Who knows? Maybe he can work on that. I'm not sure. Okay. He does have a good rapport with Jalen Hurts. So we'll see where that works. But you cannot pay Dallas Goddard. And I think that's essentially why he is on that list. Now, let's go up. Now, after missing out on Milton Williams, Carolina has landed former Raiders safety Trevor Moehrig on a 3-year deal worth $51 million. Could reach $60 million in incentives. That's pretty interesting. How about Seattle? Here's two quarterbacks. So think about this, guys. And this is why I say, everybody just relax on all the talk. Sam Darnold, Seattle Seahawks, 3 years, $100 million. Sam Darnold is getting paid $33.5 million a year, $100 million. Think about that. So when you look at the quarterback position in the NFL, think about how lucky that we are in Philadelphia to have a guy like Jalen Hurts locked up, to have a guy like Jalen Hurts that is balling out, to have a guy like Jalen Hurts who is going to consistently work on his flaws, have a guy like Jalen Hurts who is a born leader and a winner, while other teams are paying $100 million for Sam Darnold. Now, the quarterback carousel continues to spin. This time, former Chicago Bears and Steelers quarterback Justin Fields, another different team, landing in New York with the Jets, signs a 2-year, $40 million deal. Very, very interesting. For my money, he'll be the starter. What does that mean? I don't know. Right? That team is in shambles right now. So, they're going to have to rebuild that team. We'll see what happens. And listen, good for Justin Fields. I'm a Justin Fields guy. I like the kid. I think he has a lot to offer. I think he just keeps getting in bad situations. And, thinking about it, the Pittsburgh Steelers, where are they headed? Right? They make the trade for DK Metcalf. They're signing Darius Slay. They're going for it, man. I mean, think about that too, man. Somebody tweeted it out. I thought it was pretty funny, but you have Darius Slay, George Pickens, and DK Metcalf on one squad. Nothing could happen there. That guy, I hope TJ Watt is a born leader, bro. And if anybody can handle it, it's Mike Tomlin. So I do like that for them. I do. And, but right now they don't have a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback, right? Technically, I mean, they haven't hitched their wagon to Russ. And there's a lot of rumors about Aaron Rodgers. Do they go for it all? Do they bring AR in to see if he could salvage 1 year? Do they bring Aaron Rodgers and see if he can salvage 1 year that go with DK Metcalf and George Pickens and Fryermuth and Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, right? Do they do that? Very, very interesting. Yeah, Steelers have been ripping through it, man. You ain't lying when it comes to quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger left. Mike says he's going to get killed by that Jets line. Speaking of Justin Fields, I know, man. That's probably why I got him, Mike, because they're like, oh, at least he can run, right? Our line stinks, so at least he can run. Javon, what's up, my man? Javon, I talked to you in a while, brother. Thanks for checking in. He says, I've loved what the Panthers have done in day one. They want all defense, especially on the defensive line. Got guys who can stop the run and get to the passer. Listen, I agree. The Panthers, they're taking the model, right? Of building in the trenches. That's how you win. You build within the trenches. And they need to build within the trenches on both the O and the defensive line, and then everything else they put into place. So listen, they know they're a couple years away, right? But again, you get this, you get these guys in here now and get them acclimated to the culture, the system, and you start building those lines. So I think it's really good. He also says Justin Fields reuniting with Garrett Wilson could be fun. It's good to see Fields go somewhere they believe in him and want him to be a starter. Listen, like I said, Javon, I like him. I do. I like him. And I've been a really, really big believer in Justin Fields. I thought, he really started to come on last year. I thought his deep ball looked a lot better. His accuracy was getting better. And I'll tell you what, I think last year was a very good sign for him to be able to learn from Russell Wilson. I do. I do. I think it's a very, it's a really good thing to have when you're behind a veteran like that, and you're on the side. And Justin Fields is a guy that his mind's always working. I've watched him. You could see he always wants to learn. So yeah, I do like that a lot, man. I do like that a lot. So to Mike checking in, he's talking about the secondary for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, so it'll be, remember, they got Joey Porter Jr. out there. So it'll be Slay and Joey Porter Jr. and Micah Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Elliott. And you got Fitz and Elliott as the safeties. That's a really good secondary. That's a really good secondary. I like that secondary a lot. And obviously, you still got Patrick Queen out there. You got Highsmith. You got TJ Watt. Again, I think that the Steelers are like, like Tomlin, even though he gets the playoffs every year, you got to start winning these playoff games. And I think now they're trying to build that playoff caliber for get out of the first round kind of roster. So I do like that. Chicago Bears made their second splash, agreeing a 3-year deal worth $48 million with edge rusher Dayo Adeyabingo. Adi Ingbo. I would just call him Dio, right? I don't want to mess his name up and butcher it anymore. So again, solid signing. Former Los Angeles Chargers wide receiver Joshua Palmer, 3-year deal, $36 million with the Bills. I'm surprised he got that much money, Josh Palmer. 3 years, $36 million, $12 million a year. Interesting. The Broncos and Talonia Hufanga have agreed to a 3-year deal worth up to $45 million. $20 million is guaranteed. Jacksonville tight end Luke Farrell goes to San Francisco on a 3-year, $20 million deal, 11 guaranteed. And let's get into this one right here. The Arizona Cardinals formed a reunion back with Jonathan Gannon and Josh Sweat. 4 years, $76 million, 41 guaranteed. Now, I'll tell you what, man. Like, Josh Sweat had a hell of a Super Bowl. Dan there could have been the MVP. But that is a lot of money for Josh Sweat. That is a lot of money with Josh Sweat. Now Mike brings up a good point. Mike says Sweat did have his best year with Mr. Fire in his gut, Jonathan Gannon. Good point. So, obviously, he saw it. He says, you know what? We need that pass rusher. I know I got the best out of this guy. Even though I thought Vic did a really good job. And the funny thing is, Vic always said that he was one of his, if not the favorite player for him, was Josh Sweat on that defensive line. So I think that's interesting. So he goes with Jonathan Gannon and Arizona. And again, man, like that's a lot of cash. Like I think we all knew, at least I know I did, the people that were realistic in Philadelphia, they all knew that it was going to be Bond or nobody, right? Honestly, because you already knew the market for Milton Williams was going to explode. You knew Josh Sweat market was going to explode. It's all about who they have repping them. We already knew where they were going. And again, I'm not mad. Like at the end of the day, not mad at all, man. They went and secured their bag, and that's what it's all about. When you get in a free agency, you work your ass off to get to this point, and you go secure your bag, man. That's what you want. I had the Jacksonville Jaguars have a replacement at tight end, signing Hunter Long to a 2-year, $5 million deal. Okay, have no clue who Hunter Long is. I like this deal a lot too. Another deal, and Javon, if you're still watching, man, another good deal for the Chicago Bears. I love me some Grady Jarrett. So former Falcons defensive tackle, Pro Bowl defensive tackle Grady Jarrett was released, obviously from Atlanta. He goes and instantaneously signs a 3-year, $43 million, 28.5 fully guaranteed deal with the Chicago Bears, getting that inside pass rush, right? So you got Dio on the outside that you signed, and now you sign Grady Jarrett in the middle, man. I like that a lot. Now, here's a deal that's going to signify what Mekhi Becton may be looking for. Former San Francisco 49ers guard Aaron Banks is heading to Green Bay on a 4-year, $77 million deal. So what's that AAV? Again, a 4-year. So you're looking at what? About 20, 26, 27, 20, 27. It's a lot of cash, man. Like that's a lot of cash. Well, that is a lot. No, that's a lot of cash, right? Well, no, I'm sorry. My math is way off, right? My math is way off. So you're looking at what? 19, yeah, I mean 19 mil, 19 to 20 mil a year, for a guard, and something they had to do. Now, former Commander safety Jeremy Chin is going to Vegas. 2-year deal. That's a good job. Dude, that's a good deal for the Vegas Raiders. After missing out on Milton Williams, the Panthers found some help for their defensive line. They signed Patrick Jones the second, which is the former Washington or Minnesota Vikings edge rusher. He gets a new deal with Carolina, pay him up to $20 million. Free agent cornerback Dante Jackson and the Chargers have agreed on a 2-year, $13 million deal. And then we also have former cornerback from the Ravens, Brandon Stevens. Well, I like this deal for the Jets. Signs a 3-year, $36 million contract with the Jets. It deal includes a full guarantee of $23 million. Now that's a good deal. I think that's a good deal for the Jets, who lose DJ Reed. So now again, that's who they get. I like that, man. Hunter, yeah. Mike says, Hunter Long. Who the hell is Hunter Long? Somebody tell me who the hell Hunter Long is. Has he even caught a pass in the NFL? If he has, I ain't never heard of him. So Hunter Long. Another cornerback, the Green Bay Packers are adding former Raiders cornerback Nate Hobbs to a 4-year, $48 million agreement, which solid signing. And then as of right now, what I have, and I'll check out the timeline for you as we go. We got Malcolm Kuntz, who will remain in Vegas on 1 year, who is the edge rusher for $12 million. So listen, let's talk a little bit about the Eagles. Let's talk a little bit about what we think is going to happen next, right? Let's talk about it. Like, and I say that because there's so much going on right now, within the NFL with a lot of these deals. And you really, really, really have to dive deep inside. Okay. You have to dive deep inside and understand which way these teams are going. All right. So, look at the Los Angeles Rams for a second. Already talking about, who would have thought they would have locked up Matthew Stafford, and they did. But now they're going to release Cooper Cup, right? Cooper Cup is going to be a casualty. Cooper Cup is going to be gone, right? So listen, Cooper Cup, hell of a player, man, hell of a player. But again, he's going to go bye bye, right? He's going to go to another team. You saw Devontae Adams, right? He's gone from the Jets, right? So you're looking at a lot of these wide receivers in the movie. You saw obviously DK Metcalf. Yeah, there's a lot, man. There's a lot of different deals. Right, Devontae Adams replacing him, right? Yeah, because he goes to the Rams. So you think about it. I mean, obviously they saw something in Cooper Cup that they didn't like. And I have to trust McVay, man. Like at the end of the day, I'm a Sean McVay guy. I think he is one hell of a head coach, one hell of a Italian evaluator, one hell of an offensive play caller. And in his mind, and he loved Cooper Cup. I think he was one of the biggest reasons for them signing Cooper Cup to that big money deal. But I think he saw, unfortunately, after that last injury, that it affected Cooper Cup physically, and he wasn't the same guy. And he has to make a judgment call. And he looks at Devontae Adams and says, you know what? With Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams and Tutu Atwell, and we have a pretty solid team, right? Not to mention Kyron Williams, who was an absolute stud coming out of the backfield. So, and we have our guy Matthew Stafford. So, I think that team again, sky's the limit for that team, man. They took us to the brink, and they're going to be right in the mix next year. But let's talk about our team before we get out of here. All right. I just gave you the rundown. NFL free agency. Again, this is the Tony Cutillo Show live right here. Make sure you like, subscribe. I get a lot of watches after the show is live, which is great. We have a lot of new subscribers to the I call it a station, channel, whatever you want to call it. And if you see tons of different content on there, something a little bit something for everybody. I got some power rankings that are going to start soon. I got the top threes, Tony's top three. And like I said before, the top three is going to be a little different than what people think. It's not going to be like, who are the top three defensive ends right now? I'm going deep, man. Like, we're going to go deep with the top threes. We're going to go by years. We're going to go by errors. We're going to go by different things. It could be music. It could be cheesesteaks. It could be movies. It could be a lot of different things. It's just a way for you guys to understand who Jigsaw is a little bit, right? But we're also obviously going to talk sports with that top three for the main part. I want to break down who were the top performers in, again, 2000. Who were the top performers in 1994? Like, let's rehash some of that historic sports that we don't talk enough about, that when we start bringing up those stats, you go, holy shit, man, I had no idea. I forgot all about this dude. No freaking Hunter Long, right? We're talking about real people that we know. Japan checking in. What's up, Japan? Talk about those Lakers. And I'm going to do a whole thing on the Bronny thing and Stephen A thing, because I got my own talk about that. But let's slow down for a minute, because I can get all over the place because I get very excited. Again, let's think about the Philadelphia Eagles right now, and think about where they need to put their focus on. I think right now, in my opinion, I do think that we cannot rely on a draft. I think we all know that, right? Like, to expect guys to come in like they did last year and perform at that level is being irresponsible, right? You don't always get that luxury. You don't. You may get one guy, but you're not getting two or three. It's just not going to happen, right? So that's a big deal. So we're going to have to mix it in. And Mike has a great point. Says we didn't get Becton or Ball last year. They were on, pickups, right? I mean, again, they were, later pickups, 1 year pickups, guys that were released, guys that were out there welcome where they were. There's going to be a lot of that coming down the pike, man. I will say, keep an eye on Trey Hendrickson, man, from the Bengals. I still think that's a fluid situation. I still think that, again, the Eagles were waiting to see where that money was going to kind of come down. I think that Howie has something like that up his sleeve. I think right now he's trying to shop around and free up some money. Obviously, with Dallas Goddard, I think can he do something with the Bryce Huff contract? Like, there's a lot of different things that he's trying to do, right? A lot of different things that he's trying to do, and I think that a lot of them is going to be in the trade market. Right? I do. I think a lot of it's going to be in the trade market. We get the compensatory picks for Milt Williams. We get the compensatory picks for Josh Sweat. That's third rounders, man. That's nothing to sneeze about. That instantly gives us 3 third-round picks, along with I think we have 4 5th-round picks. And we have a lot of draft flexibility. And okay, the way Howie likes to wheel and deal. And right now, if you could look at this and say we have such a good influx of young talent that let's pick up a couple of these guys, that are available that maybe veterans, right? That we need to get on board here. One more year, give them a 1 year deal and see what happens. I do. I think that's a huge deal, right? And I think that's something that we have to look at. I think it's something that we have to look at. There's a couple people out there. What about God? How about the Dolphins again? Zach Wilson, 1 year fully guaranteed stinks. The Dolphins are terrible, man. It's absolutely terrible. But look, Vikings get former Colts center Ryan Kelly, 2 years, 18 million. I mean, they're the kind of deals that you're probably going to look at. Listen, Panthers land. Let me ask you this. So here you go. Here's an interesting concept I want to talk to you about. So everybody's so worried about the defensive tackle position. I've heard a lot of people talk about it. Well, Jordan Davis only played 15 snaps, and Ojomo, is he going to be good enough? Listen, Panthers land former Rams defensive tackle Bobby Brown, with not Bobby Brown when he humping around, Bobby Brown, the defensive tackle, on a 3-year deal worth up to $27 million. Okay. So who would you rather have? Would you rather pay $27 million for a guy like defensive tackle Bobby Brown? Or would you rather just roll with the Jamo? Like that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to think about this. This is also a draft that's very deep with defensive tackle talent. Right. So you have to look at that. Right. We have to look at that. Oh, the comp picture for this year, man. That's the thing. We get them. We get them for this year. Right. And that's the thing. We get them for this year. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Yep. Look, see, Mike says best point you have made. I've been saying this. He says he's talking about McDaniel as a stiff. I can't stand Mike McDaniel. Wears cool shoes. Mike McDaniel is the biggest fraud. Mike McDaniel is a fraud, dude. He came out. Everybody thought he was the next coming, and guess what? He just showed that he couldn't do it last year. When it got tough for him and things happened, they figured him out a little bit. Players didn't respond to him. He had some issues with guys like Tyreek Hill. For me, I've always been out on Mike McDaniel. Was never a Mike McDaniel guy. He will never win anything in Miami. Very simple. He will never win anything in Miami. I'm telling you that right now. Javon says, I'd like to see the Eagles go after. I'm with you. We haven't talked about this, but I'm glad you brought this up. So let's talk about it. He says, I would like the Eagles to go after a cornerback like Asante Samuel Jr. or Christian Fulton in free agency. Also, a young pass rusher on the cheap like a Josh Uche or a James Houston. And again, I do think that's where Howie is going to go. But I do think he has one big banger up his sleeve, man. I do. I put him in the bathroom. Put him in the bathroom, Frank. I don't want his face looking at my money. Oh man, great Goodfellas moment right there. Great Goodfellas moment. But yeah, Asante Samuel Jr. I think is the a great piece for the Philadelphia Eagles if they can nab him. I again, young guy, obviously has the litany of the lineage behind him. Has a lot of talent. He's young, and he can play. right? And he can play, and it gives you some stability, right? And I'm not saying I'm not ready to say Killy Ringo can't play. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, you got to bring in some competition, right? Bring a veteran in here, or bring somebody in here to give him some competition to see who wins out. Now I listened to who is it? Andrew DeCecco, who I think the world of. Andrew DeCecco is one of the best people on radio right now. Another dude who worked his ass off, put in the time, with Inside the Birds, with Mosher and Adam Kaplan. And, he did some stuff in other radio stations and finally getting a shot over there at 97.5. A dude who has an extraordinary vocabulary, very meticulous with his words, but very, very diligent in his approach to eyeing talent and breaking down film, a guy who's not worried about a fabricated argument, a guy who's telling you the way it is because he is educated in it and he firmly believes it. And he was on earlier and he specifically said the only thing that he's worried about with Killy Ringo is he said that again, that when he played one-on-one going back and forth with Isaiah Rodgers at camp, Isaiah Rodgers beat him out. So look at Darlene. Darlene, what fan are you, Darlene? Darlene's checking in. Say, come on, Darlene. We're all good sports here. She goes, good news. Philadelphia Eagles got a little worse today. Come on, Darlene. Where are you from? Are you a Commanders person? Are you a Cowboys person? Let's talk about this, man. Again, I don't mind this. I like this kind of stuff. I will say this. If you come into the Tony Cutillo show here, if you come into this stream, if you come into this show, I don't boot people out. I don't rip on people because they like a different team. Again, the hashtag on this show is not just Philly. Even though I'm a Philly guy, I like to talk about all sports, all players, all teams. So please, Darlene, if you would give us the benefit of letting me know where you are from, who your team is, and tell us why you're happy that we got a little worse today. Are you a Washington Commanders fan? Are you looking for the downfall of the Philadelphia Eagles? Like, talk to me. I want to hear it, man. I want to hear it. So looking at also along the offensive line is one of the reasons why for the Philadelphia Eagles that I was big and still big on trying to bring back Mekhi Becton, because I still think he does more than just fills in that starting guard role. I think he gives you an opportunity to work him in at the tackle position, right? With guys like Elaine Johnson, who, listen, it's not going to stay healthy every game forever, right? Jordan Mailata, same thing. You had two guys that getting surgery, and Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson. So when you have those kind of guys, you need people to back them up, right? You need people to back them up. So, I think that, the big thing about Becton is when you get Becton, if you get Becton, now, he gives that, it gives that an idea and an identity along that line. It gives them with some movable parts. What I mean was just a little worse because you're probably still, listen, it's all good, Darlene. I appreciate you checking in. Seriously. I love to have conversations, like, honestly, because again, I'm a realist. Like, I won't hate on a team just because I hate them. Like, I'll be honestly and tell you the way I feel. Like, I'm a big believer in the Washington Commanders. If you are a Washington Commanders fan, I think that they are doing things the right way. They got the quarterback of the future. They have a mix of signing. I do think they signed little too much of the overage veterans a little bit. You're only going to get so much out of them. But I'm a big Terry McLaurin fan. Love Terry McLaurin. I would love to see Terry McLaurin win. I would. I'll be honest with you. He's put his time in, man. Like, he's put his time in. So, I would love to see him win. Now, I don't want to watch him beat us, right? And I do. Not because I'm a homer, but I still think that the Philadelphia Eagles, Darlene, I agree, are the best team in the division, without a doubt. However, Washington is going to make a really good play to be right there because, you never know. She goes, no, I'll tell you who I am. I still think you're the team to beat, but I'm a Cowboys fan. And again, listen, I'm glad you're a Cowboys fan, Darlene. You know why? Because I want to ask you about what's going on out there. Like, I'm curious. What is the? This is why I like these streams, because I like to bring people from other teams in, because I honestly want to know, like, what's going on with Mika Parsons, right? Like, when you, as Cowboy fans out there, when you see that deal for Myles Garrett, when you see that deal for Myles Garrett, that's going to make you a little nervous with Mika Parsons, because if Myles Garrett got that deal, what do you think Mika Parsons is going to want, right? So, listen, I think you know as well as I do that the biggest problem out there is Jerry Jones. I'm sorry. I know he built a great stadium, he did, but he's too involved, man. Like, he's too involved. That team should be a lot better than they are. And I think they overpay for some players. They way overpay for Dak Prescott, right? We all know that. Now, I know they did a little adjustment on his contract, and I know that they restructured it a little bit, but still, like, you can't pay a quarterback that's unproven like that when you have so many other needs, right? I love CeeDee Lamb. I think that obviously was a no-brainer, but last year going into that year with no really running game whatsoever, I think was a big mistake. But yeah, Darlene, listen, I appreciate you saying your Cal. I don't hate anybody, man. Seriously, I'll be honest with you. I love to talk sports. I love to get the insight of other fans around the country. That's why I like to have, like, when I had on Sunday night, when I was doing Sirius on Sunday nights, I loved getting other insight from callers, and I loved getting other insight from reporters and beat writers from other cities, because again, I say this all the time. I'm not watching, like in your instance, right? I'm not watching Dallas Cowboy games. So it's hard for me to say I know what the problem is with Dallas. Just like you're not watching Philadelphia Eagle games, right? Unless they're probably, playing the Dallas Cowboys. So it's hard for you to say what's wrong with our team, right? So that's why I think it should be fluid. You shouldn't be just kicking people out, because I don't get into that. I don't. I like. There's a lot of Cowboys fans. Okay, there is. One of my best friends is a big time Cowboys fan, and I don't know how it happened, but it happened, right? But hey, man, good for him. He watches every Cowboys game. And what's cool is he allows me to understand what's going on that team at times, right? So I like it. Yeah, obviously we beat each other up a little bit here and there, right? But it's all fun, man. So Darlene, listen, I appreciate you checking in and coming out and saying you are a Cowboys fan. And I promise you right now that I will not kick you out of this stream, and I will not disrespect you for being a Cowboys fan. And if anybody in this stream does, I'll boot them the hell out of here before I boot you. Okay, because that's how I run things. I will say that I was doing post games for the Phillies when they were in the World Series against the Houston Astros, and I had a ton of Houston fans come in, and they actually loved it. Like, we were going every post game. It was Philly and Houston. Like, we had a great rapport, man. Like, I think it was great. Like, it was a really good. So I appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind, man, I hope you come back. Like and subscribe to the show. I much appreciate it. Mike says, rumor has it Cowboy fans own the most VCRs. Ah, come on, man. Say JD, man. JD, only person we can talk shit on is Hunter Long. Exactly. Does anybody freaking know who Hunter Long is? Anybody in the stream know who Hunter Long is? Because I don't freaking know who Hunter Long is. He get paid though. He get paid more than me. I don't know. Yeah, Mike says, I want to know where those New England sports guys had the idea they were getting close to getting AJ. Oh man, wasn't that a joke with the whole AJ Brown thing? You talk about fabricating news, man. Like, like at the end, like, come on, man. Like, are you serious with this? Like, all of a sudden, we're just going to throw that out there. And it actually started to grow legs, man. That's a crazy thing. It actually started to grow legs, man. It's so funny. So funny. JD says, how many comp picks the Eagles get for losing players? 4 round. It's actually, I'm pretty sure they're going to get 2 third rounders, JD. And that's going to be for this year. Pretty sure they're going to get 2 third rounders, and that should be for this year. Yeah, exactly. I was like, what the f? Where to get that from? You know what? It's they're looking at the scenario because of the head coach, right? Now, like I said, I was live on the air when the Eagles traded for AJ Brown. Mike Vrabel was pissed, right? Mike Vrabel was pissed. Vrabel did not want to lose AJ Brown. Why would he? Why would he, right? So, you put two and two together. Vrabel wants his guy back. How can we get him? Maybe the Eagles want to save some money. Like, come on, man. Like, stop it. Like, the funny thing is, I heard actually somebody call in, and it wasn't locally. I think it was nationally. And I think it was when I was on VSiN. And somebody was like, well, AJ Brown's going to start to slow down. What? He's 27. Like, are you serious? He's 27. It's crazy, man. Like, give me a break. Now here's a good point. My man Tommy checking in. What's up, Tommy? Tommy says, I fear that AJ will eventually want out of Philly due to the media and its fan base saying too much. That wouldn't be the first time, Tommy. I will say, I mean, he did come out the other day and he talked about how like we're messy and this and that. Here's a problem I have with this. And like and I want to do a whole episode on a lot of this. Like, do me a favor. If you're gonna bitch and you're gonna moan, get off social media. Like what? Like it's like, what do you think is going to happen? Like these NFL players, like the funny thing is they want to go on social media and because their egos are this big, they want to go on social media, right? And they want all the attention. They want more attention. Give me more attention, right? Give me more attention. But then when it goes the other way, right away, oh, social media, these trolls and their problem. Bro, what do you expect? Why do you think that like the good coaches will always say, don't read the papers, don't read this, don't read that? Well, get the hell off social media. Like, that's my thing, man. Like, you got these players, these stupid podcasts. I'll be honest with you. Here's what pisses me off. See, I'm going to get on a jigsaw rant here for a minute. Here's what pisses me off about the podcasts. Okay. And the podcast pissed me off because the professionals, I will say the professionals, okay, that were owning their brands on digital media for YouTube and Facebook and X and all this, they had a platform, they had a space, okay? The one thing that we all had, and then again, like if the players aren't greedy enough, the players got to come in, start their own podcast, okay? Steal the time that was given to us, okay? Take the money, okay? Any kind of sponsorship that you could even hope for is gone, right? Again, like, and they just love to hear themselves talk. Like, but here's what pisses me off even more. We all buy into it, man. Like we are funneling their shows. So the only way around it is take their content, use it for your own in a way of giving your opinion on it to at least grab some gravitation towards the product. That's like all you have, right? Even like sports radio, that's what they have. They're always talking about, did you see this on the pod? See that on the pod? Like, I mean, come on, man. Did anybody really watch and enjoy the Sean Jackson and Shady McCoy's podcast? Are you kidding me? All it was a love fest. Like, why don't they each get on? Each of them should have just got down on their knees and sucked each other off. Like, that's all it was how I'm so great and I was so great and I did this and I did that. Bro, like, I don't care. Like, I didn't care when you were here. I don't care about it now. Like, and it just bothers me. It's a sore subject with me, man. Honestly, like, I hate it. I hate it because there are people out there that are legitimately working their ass off. Okay. Working their ass off. And, unfortunately have to jump through hoops just to get a piece of something that some of these podcasts are getting. And it's a shame. Like, they don't have enough. You don't have enough billions and billions of dollars that you got to steal the spotlight from everybody else. Oh my God. The Vernon there's a pod I'd probably listen to with Vernon Maxwell because he's just a straight lunatic, man. Like I was listening to Yes, the dudes have crazy 90 stories. Bro, I was listening to the one, Mike, about when Hakeem smacked him in the back of the head about messing around a cloud. Like the way Vern says it, man. Man Max is crazy, dude. Like, that's different, right? That's enjoyable because Man Max, he's just keeping it real. Like, he's telling you the stuff that you want to hear. It's entertainment, right? It's not like, hey, I love myself, right? It has nothing to do with that, right? Nothing to do with that. He's telling, like, I like it. Like, my favorite pod is from former players. Like, I'm a big pivot fan. I love the pivot with Ryan Clark. I think the pivot is the best podcast from any kind of former or current player out there. Ryan Clark keeps it as real as can be. I'm a big Ryan Clark fan. I am. I've tried to emulate myself after his kind of product because he's very authentic to me. He says his beliefs, the way he feels, everything. I enjoy it, and he's got great guests. And I think with him and Freddie dude, yeah, yo, you got to check it out, Mike. The pivot is funny, man. Like, and it's good. Like, it's good. Like, the Cooper DeJean one is great. Like, he had Cooper DeJean on, or DeJean, I'm sorry, I just said DeJean. Cooper DeJean on, who had you hear his story, which is fantastic. So, you just had James Harrison on, which was a really good, yeah. The current players, stop, man. Like, like, stop with the pods, bro. Like, I just can't, man. I can't, like nobody want, like, I don't want to hear you. Like, honestly, like, I just don't. I maybe I am, in a different, thinking than some people, right? It's DeJean. Yeah, I still say Carlos. I still say DeJean, man. I still say DeJean. I really do. But the problem with the player podcast too is, like, I know people say that they're locked in, and they have to the team, but like, if I was a team, I would say, if you want, like, in anybody's contract, I would not allow you to have your own podcast during the season. You want to have it after the season, and you go ahead. But during the season, I'd be like, no pod. Sorry. Because, you look at a lot of friction that it caused this year, just with Darius Slay with his own podcast and going on Micah Parsons' podcast. Even in Dallas, if you're still watching, with, Micah Parsons had, he had some issues on his podcast. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, are these guys in your mind, are they players or celebrities? What are they? Because I think there needs to be a difference, right? I think there needs to be a difference. Like, Joe Rogan is a celebrity. He has his own pod. Right? I honestly, I like to listen to Joe Rogan. I like some of the stuff that he's, not all of it, but I like some of the guests that he has and some of the things he says. Right? I like Ryan Clark. Big Ryan Clark. Is he a player or a celebrity? He's a celebrity. Former player, but celebrity. Right? So does that rule of no podcast? Oh my God, with the Travis Kelsey. Right? Like, that Kelsey name to me, man. Like, I am so over it. And again, I like Jason, and it's not his fault, but it's just like everything is just thrown in your face, right? And Travis just bothers me when he came out about the whole Taylor thing, and then he started making excuses about the game, and stop it, man. Like, at the end, just stop. Like, I'm not a Travis Kelsey fan. I've said that before. I'll say it again. Never been a big Travis Kelsey fan, but um, I would definitely say, no pods during the season. I just would. I just think that, again, at the end of the day, it's just bad for business, right? In my opinion, it's just bad for business. But I mean, even though, God forbid, if Paul George is doing his pod or not doing his pod, whatever the hell Paul George is doing, man. Let's not even get into that. Jason is just trying to get his bags while he's known and can chill. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see, man. Like, I think, I think he has a good way about him to where he could eventually be that solo host and do it. I don't think he needs Travis, to be honest with you. But again, former player, right? So I don't mind that as a former player. I don't like it when they're active, right? Oh yeah, listen, Tommy, we could get on a whole Sixers rant about Daryl Morey and about that team. I actually want to start doing some more NBA talk in general. Like I hate the current NBA, but I'm a big basketball fan. I can't wait till May 16th when the WNBA starts. And I'll tell you what, man, like, I can't wait to um to see Juju Watkins in the WNBA, bro. Like, yeah, I've been a big Juju person. I love watching Juju play. And she just set the record, broke Caitlin Clark's scoring record for about points in 2-year period or whatever it was. And she's got it all, right? She's got it all. And it's great. Like, but I think, how about those comments by Angel Reese? What do you guys think about that? Let's get into that real fast. I know this is the NFL show, but again, this is the Tony Cutillo show live, so we can talk about whatever the hell we want, wherever the conversation goes. But Angel Reese coming out and trying to be like the spokesperson for the NBA, WNBA, talking about we want to be paid like NBA players, and we want we're gonna walk, we're gonna hold out. There's somebody that's completely disconnected, honestly, completely disconnected from the game. Like and again, I am not saying that you can't be paid like NBA players, but do you understand the word revenue? Do you understand the word TV contracts? Do you understand the word global audience? Like, do you understand any of that? Where Angel, where is the money going to come from to get paid like the NBA? Like, honestly, where is the money coming from, Angel? I'm wondering, where's it coming from? Because it's not there. It's not there. Now, yeah, you can obviously work towards that, and I agree. Yeah, why not? Right? It's a step process, right? It's a step process. Like, baseball players weren't always getting 3, 4, $500 million contracts, right? It was a step process, but there has to be a solid foundation of revenue that's coming into the sport, which is just starting to. Okay, it's just starting to. Oh, and by the way, you can thank Caitlin Clark for that. Okay, get mad at me all you want, but you can thank Caitlin Clark for that. And I'm glad it happened, because now it put a spotlight on everybody, which is the way it should be. Yes, they should get a really good CBA, but to be Carlos says, Tony, you can't talk logic to these females. It's about feelings for them. I listen. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I am one of the biggest advocates for women in sports that there is. I will be 100% transparent with that. I am a girl dad, and I watched the struggles that my daughter went through coming up in very competitive elite travel softball, in a high school and college type atmosphere, and watching them fight for practice time and fight for uniforms. And so I get it, right? I understand. But the problem is, I just think that, Angel Reese's downfall is, there's one thing about getting the bag, and there's one thing about being about the bag, right? She's just being about the bag. And again, I understand that you want to get paid, and I understand, but let's worry about, how about we worry about growing the game, right? That's the one thing that bothers me about Angel Reese. I like Angel Reese, and I think she's got a phenomenal game. However, the one thing that I don't like about her is she's not about growing the game. She's about growing Angel Reese, right? Where at this, these collectively, these women collectively have to stick together and bond together to continue to fight and get more and more and more. They can't go from 1 to 10, but you got to go 1 to 3 to 4 to 6 to 8 to 10, right? He's like, bro, I've been watching women's b-ball since it was before the WNBA. Dawn Staley played for my hometown team in Philly. I love it, man. Gotta love Dawn Staley. It was a short-lived league, just one season because the WNBA came the year next. What WBAL? Interesting. Carlos, I had no idea. You're giving me I love it. You're giving me some information here, bro. Like I had no idea. How about that Dawn Staley, right? Winning that title this year, win that tournament with that upset, right? Didn't have the undefeated year again, right? But still showed why she is Dawn Staley, why she is, the person that you want to go play for. Temple's own, Philly's finest, right? Temple made Dawn Staley. JD says baseball slowly built game for over 100 years. WNBA has been growing 20 to 30 years. I mean, that's the problem, JD. Like, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem I have with Angel Reese. Yeah, Carlos says, I think her team was called the Philadelphia Star. You know what, Carlos? I think you're right. I do. I think I vaguely remember that. That's a great pull by you. Not like I want to sound like Mike Missinelli with that comment, but no, honestly, that's a great pull by you, man. Like, and that's the thing about, you look at Dawn Staley and what she's doing out there and really getting into these girls' minds and letting them understand. I have Darlene checking in says, I have no likes for or no love for the New York Yankees. Well, Darlene, I think that's what we all can agree on with you, right? You are a Cowboys fan that doesn't like the New York Yankees. Listen, I'm loving you back for that. I'm in for that because I can't stand the Yankees. I can't. Now, it sucks what's going on with the Yankees right now, right? You got the problems with Giancarlo Stanton, right? You got the problems with Garrett Cole. He's going to have to get Tommy John. That sucks, right? Stanton double elbows. Like, that's weird. Like, that dude is so fragile. Oh. She says, I am a Yankees fan. I'm sorry. I'm misspoke. Okay, well, Darlene, I hate the Yankees. You want to know why I hate the Yankees, Darlene? And again, but I will say this. I am a huge, listen, if we go back in Yankees history, Mariano Rivera, best ever, right? Love Mo. Love Mo. Love Derek Jeter, right? Love Derek Jeter. I always said I'm waiting for the next person to try to emulate the Derek Jeter game. Okay. Love Derek Jeter. And I actually do love the stories. I'm sure you heard when he would leave the baskets for whoever the woman was he had with him. I thought it was hilarious, right? Little basket, little goodbye present for her, right? He was smooth, man. He was smooth. I know people don't like A-Rod. I like A-Rod. Like, I don't care what anybody. I like A-Rod. I have no problem with A-Rod, but the reason why I hate the Yankees is because they kicked our ass in 2009. I still have nightmares at that series against the Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series of Jorge Posada, Johnny Damon, like these stiffs coming up, and Hideki Matsui, and just kicking our ass, man. Like, that's why I hate the Yankees. No disrespect to you, but man, I wanted that in 2009. I want that second World Series. I want that back-to-back for the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's why I hate the Yankees. And I thought the whole facial hair policy was ridiculous. I didn't understand it. But I go back with the Yankees, man. I like a lot of low-level Yankees. Like, I love going back and watching the David Cone. David Cone, unbelievable pitcher. People forget about. Nobody talks enough about David Cone, right? Nobody talks enough about David Cone. Nobody talks enough about Kevin Brown. Right? Nobody talks enough about these guys. Right? I go back, man, with these New York Yankees teams. They had a lot of really good players that I gravitated towards as an early baseball fan before I became a hardcore Phillies fan, right? Just an actual love of the game. Like, because I love baseball. I'm one of those people that can actually sit there and watch the game. Right? I'm not worried about the pitch clock. Like, I like the game. I like the game. Right, where the game pitcher versus hitters, right? I used to love watching Oral Hershiser on the mound. I used to love watching Greg Maddux on the mound. I love that, right? Carlos says the problem is the damn pitch count crap. Let a pitcher pitch. Their arms have been trained one way their entire career. To change muscle memory up is causing more injuries, in my opinion. I'll tell you what, Carlos. I couldn't agree more. There's two things that in baseball that are really uh, contributing to the numerous Tommy John surgeries and rotator cuffs and elbow problems. It's what you just said, the pitch clock that's changing up, right? That they got to go faster, and muscle memory. It's a problem, but also it's the year long sport that started at the youth level. I tell the story all the time. When I would say about 15 years ago, right? My daughter's 25. I'll say about 12 years ago. We had this one pitcher for softball. And I'm going to say same thing. Still softball pitcher, right? Still wheeling it, right? Windmill, right? Still on the shoulder. Um, we had this stud pitcher, and I'll never forget. She was unbelievable. And I remember talking to my fellow coach. I was like, bro, like, you think we're pitching her too much? He's like, I don't know. It's only 6 innings and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think we're looking at how many pitches. Dude, I clocked how many pitches she was the first time. I clocked how many pitches she was throwing. She threw 168 pitches in 5 innings. Right. And I was like, holy shit, dude. 12 years old, 168 pitches. And right there, I was like, oh my God. Like, I'm not even realizing how much that we're pitching these kids. And now it's getting even worse. These kids go to these week-long or weekend-long tournaments they're pitching. Now, fall ball becomes not just a let's play with our friends. Fall ball is a competitive sport. And then you're training and doing your pitching sessions. And you got your pitching coach. And then you're playing for school. And then you got indoor. And then you go back outdoor. And it's a year-round sport. So, these kids, their elbows and their shoulders are throwing so many different kinds of pitches way too early. And it's so the pitch count is so high for so long. By the time they get in the majors, man, they already could be kind of damaged goods. And it's a shame. So you put that with the pitch clock, yeah, it's a problem, man. The injuries are a complete problem in Major League Baseball right now in the pitcher position. It really is. But I go back, like I said, looking at those Yankee teams, Darlene, and you had some really good years, man. Like the Yankees, no joke. I mean, really, really good years. And we know whether they bought the team or not, I don't care. I'm just, I just looking at the players, the nostalgia factor, of the New York Yankees. I remember going to the Bronx, the Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, the original. Took a bus trip down there, man. It was one of the best memories I ever had. One of the best memories Paul O'Neill hit a home run to right field, man. Remember Paul O'Neill? So yeah, I mean, like, I'm a big baseball lifer. I love the game, Carlos. So I'm with you. I can't wait for baseball to like real games to start. Like I'm a ESPN Sunday Night Baseball kind of guy. Like I'm watching it. I'm in there watching, and it's no more, right? But I'm watching it. I would love watching Baseball Tonight with Harold Reynolds back in the day, with the web gems, right? I love This Week in Baseball back in the day was one of my favorite shows. Back when they would show the rooftop home runs from Jesse Barfield and Cecil Fielder, right? So like that's the stuff that I love. And baseball, I think, is sometimes a lost art. We forget, some of the players that really did give us some fantastic memories. But listen, man, we're gonna wrap this up because, as you guys know and girls, I am a wrestling guy. So I am going to get ready to go watch Monday Night Raw because I love Monday Night Raw on Netflix. And I'm looking forward to watching it tonight. And I'm looking forward to, all the twists and turns and getting ready for WrestleMania. But this was the NFL free agency edition. I think we had a really good show. We went through a lot of the picks, who they were. Still don't know who the hell Hunter Long is. But Carlos, I appreciate you as always coming back, my man. I saw you subscribe. Again, Darlene, hopefully you're a new subscriber and you come back and again, because we just don't talk Philly on this show. Like I said, like I will, when there's a Philly topic, I will cover it. But I like to talk about everything. I do. I really like to break a lot of different things down. I think one of my highest videos was about Baker Mayfield because I love Baker. Carlos says I haven't watched wrestling in a while. Are the Rockers still tagged? Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels? No, they're definitely not still tag team champions. But that were the day, bro. The Rockers were the shit, man. Carlos, the Rockers were that was like WWF in your house Saturday mornings, man. Like we're going back if you're watching the Rockers. JD, as always, thanks for checking in. Foods earlier, Mike V. As always, the crew for checking in. I appreciate Javon checking in as always. We had a really good audience, even though X wasn't working tonight. I'm not really worried about that. I really focus on YouTube. I like to throw a lot of stuff out there. I got a lot of stuff planned up the pike, and got the new show starting with my boy Tom Arnone from A2D Radio. So we got a big show planned starting in April, which we're getting a logo work designed now. And I'll tell you what, that show ain't going to be for the week because he's going to scream, I'm going to yell. We have a lot of difference of opinions. But again, and it's not fabricated; it's organic, which is great. Carlos, thanks. You have a good night as well, brother. I appreciate it. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you go like and subscribe as always. It's much appreciated for everybody that's already doing it, and for the new people that are checking in. Darlene, I really appreciate you coming in and saying you're a Dallas fan and a New York Yankees fan. And like I said, you didn't get kicked out because you will not hear, because we like to talk about everything. As always, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Catch you back here real soon because I will be doing some NBA talk probably tomorrow night where we discuss the LeBron segment. We discuss what's going on with the Sixers, not because it's Philly, but because they are a topic of discussion. And, what's going on with the league, man, because I want to get into that. So everybody have a fantastic night. Be safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you back here next time.